We're recording. So I just wanted to ask how everyone's doing with this. I mean, this is your time to ask questions or do things. I'm thinking, I have a few things that I have a plan, but I'd really like to hear from you guys if I could. How it's going?
Good so far. My question was like I'm not someone who's tried to be a writer particularly.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really understand that, writing every day as an exercise for people whose intention is to write and to write better or to write consistently, that makes a lot of sense to me. But for you and in this particular work, how does writing every day help the process or fuel things, or where's the juice? Like why is every day a good practice for when your intention is around this kind of work?
Well, if you're working with a specific intention, like I'm hoping we are working with a specific intention of a place in our life where we want to just move through what keeps us stuck.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it helps to get first of all, it helps to get a lot of clarity on what you're, on where you are in your process, where you are, where you're sitting, where you're feeling. It gets it out on the paper. Again, with the expressive writing, it also, by writing it down, you're releasing. It's a very shamanic process for me because you're releasing the, whatever that is that you're working with that's keeping you stuck.
I guess what I mean
is
a
gradual process.
Right. So that things come out. If you write daily, things come out that wouldn't come out otherwise, is what you found?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because that was my particular question. Like what?
And the other thing it helps me with, and this is just maybe just me, but it helps me to get all that mind chatter and crap that's in my head when I wake up out. Like sometimes I don't even write around a specific topic. I just write, Jesus, I'm really mad at my partner today. He's driving me insane, blah, blah, blah. And I'll just write down everything. And then by the time I'm done writing, it's gone,
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, that's another use for it. Sure. That was just an example, but you know what I mean? It's
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Thank you.
And and you never know what will develop too. I think surprising things come out when you my one writing teacher at University of Chicago, she used to say, write as fast as you possibly can and don't censor anything.
Mm-hmm.
And she would actually read us poetry while we wrote, because there's something about the meter of the poetry that makes your brain out. It's like drumming during a journey.
Totally.
It trains your brain. And so you'd write, and you just write pages and pages of absolute crap. But at the end, I would read it and I would pick out little, amazing things. I made poems out of them, but you could do anything with it, really.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Okay. It's an interesting exercise. I want to try it.
Okay, yeah.
Molly Daniels. She was awesome. I expected some little Irish woman. She walks in, she's she's Indian and from Indian, and she's like 4'10", and she's just crazy. I mean, she was just insane. She used to make people cry. I mean, she was fierce. So yeah, it was funny. She didn't make me cry. I just got a kick out of her. But anyway, hi, Lois.
Hey.
So that was a great question. Thank you. That's that's for me what the practice is. And it's just another way of meditation or I mean, it can be very meditative, and it can be very shamanic in the fact that you're releasing. It's and what I'm hoping is that you're working with the intention that you set, or something else that came up.
Precisely. I think what it's sort of it's sort of observing your own stream of consciousness, I find.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and then going like, oh, I'm associating this with this. Oh, look at that. Or finding, you know, memories will pop up and you're going, oh, this is connected. Or why am I thinking of this? Why is this coming in?
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So anybody else, how are you finding the process?
Well, when I first took this class, the reason I took it was that I always feel like I am in a maze and that I'm moving in directions that seem really wonderful and exciting to me, and then all of a sudden I hit a stop and I have to start all over. And at my age, that's not really very reassuring. And I feel like a lot of times I'm just stuck inside my head, like I'm bouncing things off the inside of my brain, and it's not taking me anywhere. It doesn't have a plan. It doesn't. And so the thing about when I started writing again in this class was that things started coming out that I didn't even know were bothering me. You know, I especially, like yesterday after I wrote, I cried all morning long. I couldn't stop crying, and it was because it has to do with my grandparents and how they died, and that my family would never talk about death. So I was, you know, you're young, and then all of a sudden, boom, oh, by the way, grandma's dead, you know, and no one's crying at a funeral. And I realized that I also don't even know where my grandmother's buried.
Oh my God.
I don't know where she's buried. I thought of that, and I thought, holy shit, Sherry, you're so fucking lame, you know, that you didn't follow up on this. And so the writing is sort of like bringing this stuff that just it's like pressure inside of me that I wasn't even aware of. Now, whether this will release, you know, my creativity and get me back on track, I don't know. But it's amazing to me how much has surfaced. You know, I never really think that much about my grandmothers because they died so long ago, and it's that whole thing. It's like they were like my I spent a lot of time with them as a child, and then they died when I was young, and nobody ever really talks about them. They don't talk about their history. They didn't talk about their death. All I knew was my grandmother had cancer. I didn't know what kind of cancer.
Wow.
I didn't know, and both of my parents are MDs. You got to remember that too. So.
Oh my.
Yeah. So there's like this. Oh yeah, we don't talk about things that make us unhappy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like all of a sudden this starts spurting out of me, and it's a real shock to me, actually, that I'm writing this stuff, and so. You know, last night or our last meeting, I was when we did the last meditation where we were feeling our body, and when I was doing the meditation, these beings came up beside me. They were real tall and thin, and they were white and glowing. And what was hurting me was not any part of my body, just my heart was hurting. And they were taking little things out of my heart. And then they would take other things out of other parts of my body, like things that were related to whatever they took out of my heart. And I think then it was the next day that I was writing about my grandmother. So there's a lot of heartbreak there.
Yeah, yeah. They opened your heart. They took out some blockages and that just sort of opened the floodgates. You'll probably feel kind of emotional for a while, but I think we are going to do some work around specifically the ancestral piece of this later on. So you will be able to sort of
Yeah.
like connect with that and really kind of just come to some peace with it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sort of felt like maybe she wanted me to go to her grave for some reason.
Hmm,
I don't know why.
maybe.
I've never been the kind of person that believes in graves.
No,
I don't. I don't believe in headstones. I don't believe in embalming people and all that stuff. So, but I think it was just that. I think death is so important to our
it really
process,
is. It
and
really
just
is.
to like
It's
blow it
shocking.
off, like, oh, she's gone.
Mhm.
We don't know why. She just had cancer or something.
Wow.
I'm an MD.
Well, they don't their whole thing, they fight against death. So
Yeah. Well, it's a Midwestern thing too. I mean,
yeah.
you probably know this being from Chicago, but I was from Kansas, and people don't show emotions. You're never supposed to be feeling ill. You're never supposed to complain,
Mm-hmm.
and so that was part of it.
Yeah.
Like stoicism.
That's interesting. Work with that feeling, because that's definitely going to be important for you. It really is going to release something and connect you at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. It seems that way.
Okay. Also, Debbie. So, Debbie, I wanted you to introduce yourself. I'm sorry, I'm like doing this, but how are you doing? Debbie's just joining us, and she's actually done the first class, and I haven't gotten the second one up yet. So, but how's it going for you?
Good. I mean, I'm just getting started, so I'm kind of behind on, like you said, the second class was just Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not that far behind, so
No,
yeah, I'm just getting started. Good. And I'm okay with that too.
Oh yeah.
Because I think I decided to join like the day of or the day after. I suddenly the email like popped up again, and I thought, this is perfect for me. It's exactly what I need. So
Awesome.
I'm looking forward to the healing work part of it, because I'm, always on that journey. And I've also had like a writing block for a very long time. And it's a fear-based thing I haven't quite figured out yet.
Okay.
But I've always loved writing, and then something just stopped me.
Okay. Yeah, we're working with that. We actually worked with that last Tuesday. So
yeah. See, so once I watch that, listen to that one, that'll be great.
Yeah. So okay, good. Lois, any questions or concerns, comments?
Yeah. So I haven't written yet.
Oh.
I love you.
And I feel like I'm getting closer to where I'm needing to be. I'm like on the very verge of remembering my dreams. Like I'm remembering I wake up in the morning and remember just a tidbit that feels like, oh, that felt like it was something real, but it was in my dream. It wasn't in this three-dimensional world. So I feel like I'm getting closer in that respect. And I'm finding I actually have your book, the grandma book, on my Kindle. So I have a new bed, and so I'm able to sit in my bed at night. So I'm making that my night reading. So that's
cool.
And so I think that's helping me as well. And I had an experience. It was actually several months ago now. It was in December, where I tended fire for Sweat Lodge, and that was the first and only time that I've done that. And I was burned, seriously. I got a 3rd-degree burn
Oh,
on
jeez.
my leg and didn't know that I was burned. There was no incident that I was aware of.
Oh, it just, oh,
Yeah, it just burned. I was aware that it was hurting as I was tending, and the tending of fire was very hard for me to do physically. But so I've been with that, and in reflecting with the person who poured the lodge, it's become clear that I'm not in the point of balance in my own being to do ceremonial fire at this point in time.
Mhm.
And so I'm working with being balanced, and part of that, it seems to be to let go of my old story of not knowing, and not being balanced.
Yeah.
So I guess in all of that, the question that comes up for me is how to start, how to be, aside from just sitting down and starting to write, how to frame a question to then write to, or, because I don't have an intention well formulated.
Okay, so maybe you could start with the intention. Okay, my intention is just to write.
Okay.
And were you able to do the first class with the guide, like where you met a guide?
Yes, I did that. I listened to that. Yes.
I would ask. I would ask the guide to write through you, just maybe do a channel with the guide.
Yeah.
If there's a specific question, like with the grandmothers, if I didn't have a question, I just said, what guidance do you have for me today?
Uh-huh.
And don't even make it 20 minutes at first, make it 5.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'm going to write for 5 minutes. And it could just be, I'm writing this sentence. I mean, you could just go, just the act of doing that. I mean, I've done that before. I have actually sat down and said, I am writing now. I have no idea what I'm going to say, but I'm going to do this because,
Yes.
and then as you go through that actual physical act,
Okay.
it starts to come through in that
Okay.
way.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's really amazing. I'd rather, write about how I'm mad at somebody, or, my shoulder hurts or something. And the stuff that's coming through, it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah. Yeah. And when you and also, like my teacher said, write very fast. Doesn't have to be legible. The nuns aren't going to look at it. It's not, it's like, it's just for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you can feel free to share it here, but you don't have to, for sure. I think at some point maybe we will, but that's certainly not required.
Yeah.
And you're not getting a grade, at least not by me.
Maybe by me.
I took a quick little writing class with Mary Ellen Sullivan, and one trick she used to also that same idea of I'm writing now, I'm writing this now. She would just observe things around the house. So I my elephant is blue. He has white ears. And you just start that way of just observing and writing. And then that way it just gets your pen going. And then soon it works. You just you take over at that point.
Yeah. And there is a certain amount of, if you can do it in a meditative state or near your mesa or your altar or whatever, you will start getting other guidance come through. And I mean, there's times when I have to actually sit down and differentiate. Okay, was this me or was this, something from, whatever, whoever I'm channeling or working with, So it's, you know, it's, it's interesting. I mean, it's an interesting thing, so I don't know. But try some of those things and just see how it works for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was, Christine, thank you for that memory of Mary Ellen. That was really sweet.
I know, right? I was with her for such a short time, and I hardly knew her except for really getting to know her in that class, and it was just magical.
She was a magical being. Is still.
Oh yeah.
Not in the body.
But it's a lovely memory because I took a class with her on writing the heroine story. So that was like, yeah.
That's another way you can do it. You can write your story using yourself as a character. As in the third person, that is also, it sort of separates you from whatever you're trying to do, and you don't get as involved in, oh God, am I doing this right, or am I doing this, I don't know, it just separates you out from that a little bit.
Yeah.
That's another way you can do it. So how are you connecting? It seems like everyone's connecting with the guide then.
Mm-hmm.
And just letting it, has anybody had any trouble with that, or?
Like always, it ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, sometimes I know it's just me, and other times it feels, and even within one session of writing, it's either, it's like I feel guided, and then I know it's just me, and then I feel guided and I know it's just me. Or sometimes it feels, the connection feels sluggish, but but that's just normal.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's just, right?
Connecting. Yeah, it is normal. It comes in and out.
Exactly. And so, but I definitely feel, I think what's been interesting too is that the intention I set led to the intention I now have, which feels very guided.
Okay.
The true intention behind this revealed itself to me through guidance, and in terms of the healing of this physical condition. And so that was really interesting to me, and it could be clearer. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of times what you think you're doing and what actually your higher guides or self or whatever has in store for you can be different.
Right. I don't know that I'm connecting with the same guide I met, but I feel like she's in the mix of it all. Mm-hmm. So that there's that too. So it can shift, and all that can shift. I don't know.
Yeah. There's many. There's many always.
Right.
Sometimes more than others. I did a healing session in Nashville this weekend with this woman. Literally, the room was crowded. I felt like I couldn't even move around. Her guides were like everywhere, and they were like, okay, well, we're going to see what you got. Or not even that. It wasn't like a challenge, but it was just like they're checking me out, and I don't know. It was hilarious. I was like, oh my God, she's got some stuff going on. It was all good, but it was amazing.
That's really cool.
So, anybody else have any like guide? Are you getting that guidance?
I think I'm playing around. The guide that came to me in the meditation was my aunt, who has passed, and is, to me, feels like a mother, grandmother figure in my life.
Uh-huh.
And she also wrote her story, and it was published by her children. And so I think that came through, and I appreciate our discussion today because that's helping me to know why she came through, and that
Right.
and that I do need to connect with her. Because the other piece is that I've been feeling like in my journey that I'm feeling like I'm wanting to connect with my higher guide, with my higher self guide.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, today I was feeling more connected with that guide. So even though I haven't started writing, I think it's getting there.
You're getting, yeah, you're getting connected up.
Yeah.
Nice. So is resistance coming up? Well, I mean, it's obviously
Oh yeah.
for anyone else. How is your resistance showing up? Aside from not writing it at all.
Right now, I am in the middle of a thing. It actually started with my healing that you gave me the last time you were in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And you had told me there was a really large fairy in the corner of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think anything about it at all until I started remembering that there's a woman from England that I took a class from. Her name's Josephine McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
And she works a lot with healing if you're a magical person. How to take care of your body, how to get rid of the things that stick to you when you're doing magic and things like that. Well, one of the things she said, and this was a long time ago, she said, if you are an adept magician and you are connected to witchcraft or fairy realm work, that a witch will actually send a fairy, these very large fairies, to you when they give you a curse.
Really?
Yeah, and I started thinking back, and I thought, wow, I mean, who in the hell would curse me? I mean, it's like, and I have a lot of things that have been kind of in my life that have been dead ends, like I said before. And so not too long ago, because I also have this other thing going on in my house with the
Right.
thought form,
Yeah.
I had a psychic come in, and I mentioned this to her, and she said, oh yeah, you were cursed, and that fairy is huge, and he's kind of just interested in you right now, but and he's sort of like turning his energy back to the people who cursed you. And I'm like, why? And it turned out that the curse was actually generated after I left a business partner. And that was back in the early 90s.
Uh-huh.
And it's just been really bothering me a lot. And so I've really been trying to figure out ways to you can't always get rid of a curse, but you can, start to work through it. And so, I think it feels strange to me right now. My life seems strange to me, and but it doesn't seem cursed. I've always felt very lucky. I've always felt like a very lucky person.
Yeah, and I did not get the sense that fairy was part of a curse. It was. Okay. She was more there to remind you to lighten up.
Oh,
I mean, that's what I was seeing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like to play. To
yeah.
play with some of the things.
Okay.
That was my sense of it.
Yeah. What I've been doing is just sending lots of love and light to the person that I think may have thought that I harmed him, and also to the fairy.
Yeah.
And just it's like it's jarring to think that somebody would curse you, but I know there are witches out there that will do it. And
Yeah, it doesn't go well for them though, usually.
no, absolutely not. That's what she said. Oh, well, it's turned its attention towards the people that cursed you.
Yeah,
And it's more just interested in you.
right.
And so
Right.
I'm like,
Yeah, I had a friend who did that, and she would, I mean, literally, she was cursing people all the time. She was Italian, and she was just,
oh Lord.
yeah. And honest to God, she ended up flat on her back for 3 years, not able to move.
No.
And I was like, well, what were you expecting?
It takes, you have to use your energy to maintain the curse. I mean,
You do.
it's like you curse somebody, then you are with them the rest of your friggin' life trying to keep that curse going.
Right.
Whether you're intentionally trying to do that or not, but that's what happens magically.
But you can but you know, Sherry, you can free yourself from this energy towards you. That's you're not stuck in this by any means.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah. And you know, and anything like that could be also, you know, either conscious or unconsciously done, because really what that comes down to is envy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, I mean, see, what I'm dealing with in my house right now is a thought form created by a woman that used to live here and died here. And she's gone, but the thought for all the negative parts of herself are still here. So I know that just sending out negativity to people can hurt them, but it hurts you as well. I mean, I know I totally believe that. And
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even believe in binding people or throwing their, pop it in the freezer.
No. That's not what we're doing here.
No. And so that to me was like a resistance thing. It was like,
yes.
something, like when I did the meditation and I thought about the square and how the square is a very stable thing. And that's your resistance. It wants to be stable. But if you blow life into it, then it becomes something that's actually has some kinetic energy. And so it's back to that thing of like, the kind of energy you place into something is really how that's going to go for you. And I think the thing with the giant fairy is it was like, it just set me back. I have to say it put me on my heels. And I think that was like a resistance thing. You know what I mean? It was like, I know that I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it makes sense.
It makes total sense to me. Yeah, I gotta watch what I'm saying. No, yeah, interesting.
No.
I'm kidding.
Holy shit, large fairy! No,
not a fairy. Anything but that. No.
I want only little tiny fairies with, that glow in the dark.
Yeah, dragonfly fairies. Those little blue ones.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite fairies.
I just started feeding all my fairies outside, so I'm trying to get on their good side now.
that'll be good.
Nice. Does anyone else have any questions or any concerns or anything?
I think the biggest resistance, is simply, for me right now, is just not writing, not doing it daily. But the last 3 days I certainly have, and it's certainly proved, very, very, very insightful and effective. So, but aside from that, right now, I really can't identify a particular thing. Although there are times when you suddenly find yourself writing something and you're going, do I want to go there?
Yeah.
Perhaps not.
And I think what you just said though about, moving yourself into third person would be a good tactic at that moment.
Mm-hmm. It is. It really is. Yeah. And we'll do a little more work with that as well, I think, because that can be, it can be helpful. Okay, so I was playing around with this idea, and just tell me what you think. I was playing around with this idea, and this was from the grandmothers and from the book, about you never really know the power and the wisdom and the effect, actually, that your words have on another person. So, so I think it's important to really pay attention and make the effort to speak your truth, to speak up, to actually, and writing is another form of, it's just using your throat chakra. Writing is a form of it. Speaking up is a form of it. Really speaking from your heart is important. And so I don't know. I just thought I would throw that out there and see what your thoughts are about that. Because really, I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me and said, "Oh God, you remember that thing you said? Like, I just this last weekend, somebody, it was 4 years ago, and the guy was 17 when I said it, and he's like, it set me on a whole different path. It made me who I am, and I mean, he just went on and on and on, and I was like, wow, that was a comment I made to him that I didn't really even, it came from my heart, but I didn't really even think about it, So it's something to think about, and maybe to write about, even the power of your words and how you might affect someone by either speaking them or not speaking them. And I think that might be a good question to just ponder, but if anybody has any insight on that or response.
I have been thinking a lot about writing my whole story, not necessarily for myself, but for my family.
Mm-hmm.
I have a huge family that's full of extroverts, and I'm, living in a little town in Tennessee that nobody wants to come to visit. And I just feel like I have a lot to share, but I don't think I'm going to get to share it one-on-one.
Right,
so,
right.
And I don't really know what I want to say. I know that I just want to tell them that, I just tell them how I got to this place,
Mm-hmm.
and that, where my path has been, that I'm not just, a weirdo and that never goes anywhere, does anything, and won't leave my house because I have my dogs. I'll miss my dogs. I know. It's like, I know I am weird to them, but at the same time, I love them deeply, and it's I just want them at some point to know who I am.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to know in a way that, I don't want them to read my journals from 1970 where all I talked about was what assholes men are.
Right.
I want them to know about me now at the end of my life.
It was interesting. We had there was an exercise in some shamanic training I did where we were talking about, or maybe it was something Holly and I did. Anyway, we were talking about how a lot of those words, this is a totally different subject than what I just said, but how those words, you've got them in a journal and they're sitting on your shelf, and how there might be some words in there that are, that you've attached to that just shouldn't even be around anymore.
Yeah.
We had this big bonfire by the lake, and we took we had I don't know, maybe 10 people. I don't know how many people, but it was like, we're going to burn the journals. And part of it was like she burned, my friend Holly, she burned all her old love letters because she wanted something new to come into her life. So we were and that fire, man, it was like purple and blue and red. And it was it was an incredible fire. And actually, it was in Evanston, and the police came, of course, because, that energy was all that old, but it was so cathartic. I can't even tell you. It was like, and all that energy just cleared. It was like,
wow.
Storing that on a shelf in my closet. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been pondering that for a long time. What do I do with all these journals?
Yeah.
Do
yeah.
I really think this is important? But what if I'm another Anais Nin? No,
Well,
I'm
yeah,
just
you never know. So,
just kidding.
well, then you just got to get it out there. Get it published while you're living.
Really, I think she rewrote all of her journals actually.
I'm sure I'm sure she did. But you know, we don't know, like, we don't know what effect we're going to have by writing them or saying them, or
Yes.
keeping them to ourselves. And
You know,
I think there's tremendous benefit. Yeah. No, go ahead.
I was thinking about my past story is that I struggle with words, how to articulate
Yes.
what it is that I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that comes from, especially in these last years, as I've had more intensive teachings from Indigenous peoples who speak much more strongly about the power of the word than I had experienced before. I think it has made it clear to me that somehow I have always had this sense of the power of the word, and how I need to be very careful about how to articulate what it is that I want to say. And so now, as I'm more aware of speaking from my heart, there's the I've been working at how do I access that? How do I access my heart so that I speak from my heart, and then those words will be fine.
There, yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I understand.
I just did a activation with Nora Harold, a Pleiadian, through her, and they were activating the throat chakra, and they said that you have to be in the present moment and speak from the heart, and the best way to do that is just to take a breath. Like, step back, take a breath, and then just open your mouth. And don't let your brain get involved.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Yeah.
So. Oh my God, there's thunder here.
That's exciting.
That it is. I just.
Wow.
Spring thunderstorm.
Huh, cool.
So, does anyone else have anything they want to say, bring up, anything? Well, I'm going to send that. I think I'll send that question around to everyone about the power of your word, and just really, really overcoming that resistance, not just for yourself, but for those who really want to hear what you have to say or what you have to write. Either way. I think it might be a good thing for people to think about and write about, if, I don't know.
Yeah, because I think if you're, our culture and our society is so focused and values rational thought and logic. And so if you're self-conscious or shy or not used to speaking up, I think the first thing that you think is that you have to think the whole thing out. And if you, when in truth, that connecting with the heart space and connecting with what your truth is actually more important. And that space too of having to trust that it'll be fine if you speak from your heart.
Yes. There's a lot of trust involved in yourself, first of all. But almost never, you can actually do the physical act of putting your hand on your heart and taking a breath. And that, will connect you. There's a space like right above your heart chakra, like your higher heart, that you're always gonna, if you connect with that space, you're gonna connect with that oversoul, that soul person. And, you know, it doesn't take very long to connect. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anybody else?
I really like that idea because my whole life I've had aphasia, and I didn't really even start speaking complete sentences until I was in my 20s. And so even now, if I can't articulate what I want to say, or if I'm angry,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or frustrated, things come out that should not come out. And and you can't really speak from your heart when you're angry.
Right.
When you're frustrated or you're hurt. So especially if you are not really articulate, you know, some people can just, you know, just say exactly what's in their mind and what's in their heart, but I can't. So that's a good thing. That's a good exercise. Will probably be very helpful.
It's very helpful. I find it very helpful. I do it a lot. I think I do it now unconsciously even, you know, it's just like I tap that space and then I'm like, all of a sudden there's a connection there and I'm just in the present moment.
Yeah.
And whatever I'm saying is what I'm saying, you know, and the other thing about that is with guides, even with guides, like I find that that's the space where I trust, you know, if it's coming through there, then I know it's guidance. I know it's, you know,
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If it's coming through my brain, then it's me, you know, it's so, and it's, you know, learning that to trust that.
Yeah.
Writing or speaking.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That is good.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm thinking, does anyone else want to say something, share anything? Debbie, you're being awfully quiet. Are you still there? I don't know if she's still there. Okay.
You know what? I'm having a little technical problems with this thing, but I'm getting. I can't see. I don't know. Can you see? You can't see me, can you?
I can't. No. Okay. Here's what I learned on Tuesday when no one could see me. There's a little. If you go to the bottom of your screen and where it says there's a little video camera there to the left. Are you on your computer?
No, you know what? Because I'm on my phone. I keep muting it so that you're not hearing all my sound effects, and then I go back to Zoom, and then I have to come back to unmute. So that's what my pause is.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I'm gonna figure this out by next Tuesday.
Okay, you can actually leave yourself off mute for these things because unless there's something really like, I mean, I've got a thunderstorm going on behind me, and that's fine. I hope, but
I had a thunderstorm.
I can't even hear it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, the only time when it's good for participants to put themselves on mute, especially, is when you start to hear like an echo in the
yes,
or you keep hearing an interruption and things. That's when to put yourselves on mute.
Okay, thanks.
Otherwise, you're fine.
Otherwise, yeah, it's cool. It's all good. All right. So, okay, now is this, okay, so I'm going to ask you because I'm, you know, like I say, I'm just feeling my way here. Is this helpful for you to just have this sharing and discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Then we will do that. And I think next time, okay, think about this. Okay, I'm just going to throw this out there because what I was thinking, we don't really have time tonight, but what I was thinking was we could have a little fun with the guides and do some channeling if you wanted to.
Oh, sure, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's an idea. I mean, you know, we're not going to be writing it, and these things are more about questions and sharing and not really lessons. So, so we might as well have some fun with it. We'll do that next time.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right. All right. So if nobody has any more questions, then I think we can wrap this up. Yes?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jai Ma.
Pardon?
Jai Ma.
Okay. Thank you so much for showing up. I so appreciate it, and I will get both of your recordings out in the next day.
Okay, thank you.
No hurries.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.